guys, welcome to my channel. It's Sky. As you can tell by the title, today we're going to talk about Taurus rising / Taurus ascendant.
I've been cooking with my bros in the kitchen, whipping, sipping as it goes.
Okay guys, so the rising sign is the sign that starts off your first house, so it starts off your whole birth chart. So I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to go over the houses in your birth chart instead of just talking about the characteristics. So in this video, I'm going to go over your first house, which is your rising sign, your 4th house, 7th house, and your 10th house. So one of the main things that I really like about Taurus is that you guys could literally be in like a hurricane tornado and be like so calm in the middle of the storm. Like I have a lot of Scorpio in me. I'm a Scorpio, so I definitely like am freaking out all the time, but you guys are so calm and like even if everything around you is like going crazy, you like insist on staying calm and just being like going at your own pace. Let's talk about how you were born, because the rising sign or the first house tells us all about our firsts. So this means our first breath, you know, the moment that we came into the earth. So when you arrived to earth, you were long awaited, so a long time. So a lot of times Taurus rising children come from parents that just waited a little longer until they had kids, so they were a little older, or maybe they just couldn't conceive, like they just had a hard time getting pregnant, and the actual process of your birth may have taken a very long time. Like so maybe your mom was in labor for a very long time. So let's talk about first impression. So your first impression, so you're definitely more cautious than other rising signs, and this is why a lot of times you come off sort of shy and reserved. Like when you're faced with someone new, you can be hesitant because you don't really like to be rushed into things. So yeah, it really does take time for you to get to know or for you to get comfortable with someone new, and even if you're like really anxious or like you're scared or something like that, you don't show it. Like in your outer appearance, definitely it's more calm and at peace. Like you don't show that you're anxious. Let's talk about appearance. So appearance wise, you guys are definitely more bigger boned, or just tend to have like more meat on your bones. And like the women tend to be like more curvy, and then the males tend to have like more of a stocky, bulky body. As a Taurus rising, you're definitely going to be more connected to this physical realm. So being in nature is really common for you, and it's something that you really enjoy and brings you peace. So another thing that is prominent for Taurus rising is your voice. You have a very beautiful voice, and even if you're not like a singer or anything like that, like there's something about your voice that is just very pleasant. So yeah, Taurus does rule the throat, so having the ascendant means that you're gonna have like a decent voice. So yeah, like in some way or another, even if I know it's like, oh well, I can't sing, but even then, like you just, something about your voice is very like, whoa, like captivating. And then if anything, if there's like a situation, you're always like the person of reason. You're always the person that tries to calm everything down. And so like if your friend is going through a crisis, you're definitely there just talking them through it, trying to make everything calm, and being like, again, the voice of reason, being that person that's just giving like practical advice. One of the main things about Taurus rising is that your self-esteem is really going to impact the circumstances that you attract into your life. So one of the main focuses in your life is self-love. So if your self-esteem is suffering, then like every area of your life is going to be suffering. Yeah, everything in your life, it all comes down to really how much you love yourself, how much you value yourself. Okay guys, so now let's talk about the 4th house, and your 4th house is in Leo, and the 4th house is all about our upbringing, our family, how we are behind closed doors, our private life, our private self. A lot of you guys come from a family that's really proud. You may have came from a family that just gave you a lot of attention, like you received a lot of attention. So Leo is a very affectionate sign, and it's very generous. So behind closed doors and to the people that you let into your inner sanctuary, you're very generous and you're very affectionate. You're definitely someone who gives a lot of love, and you can shower people with presents a lot, just give a lot of, this is like the Taurus give a lot of presents. Like if you're friends with a Taurus, like they love to give you presents. So yeah, like Leo is also very dramatic, so you could also be very dramatic behind closed doors, and a lot of people don't know this because you're more focused on like being more grounded and low-key, but behind closed doors you're definitely just more dramatic. You could definitely have some crazy temper tantrums. Leo is also about self-expression, so behind closed doors you could also be extremely creative. So I know Taurus risings that they constantly spend all their time like in their room writing, or you know singing, or like whatever your talent is, whatever's your creative expression. Okay, so let's move on to your 7th house, and your 7th house is in Scorpio. So your 7th house is about your relationships, so your close relationships, how you connect and relate to other people, like your friends, your close friends, significant others, and just really who you attract into your life. So with Scorpio here, you're going to attract a lot of Scorpio archetypes into your life. So Scorpio sun, moon, rising, or people with heavy Pluto in their chart, or even like 8th house, people with a lot of 8th house planets. And basically these people are really emotionally intense. People who are very passionate, people who are very intuitive as well, because Scorpio is a very intuitive sign. It's a water sign. These people are deep. These people do not like mundane relationships. And you as well, you don't really like mundane relationships. Like the people that you really connect with, the people who you call your significant others or you call best friends, are people who you want to have an intense relationship with. You don't want something bland and just not real. You want something raw, you want something deep. And Scorpio is this type of sign that it's either there or not at all. So it's all or nothing pretty much. So you want a love that's all or nothing. You want to be in a relationship that's all or nothing. You're going to also attract a lot of people that have a lot of psychological scars, and just a lot of emotional baggage as well, because Scorpio is very intense, emotionally intense. Scorpio is the sign of transformation, is the sign of death and rebirth. So through your relationships, you'll find that you're always like, you go through relationships and you come out a completely different person. But in life, we do have to go through a couple of shitty relationships before we find our perfect relationships. Basically, this is teaching us what we don't want in our relationships. So at first, you can meet someone who's really hurtful, manipulative, because Scorpio can manipulate you, like for real. Because Scorpio has like such an intense bond with whoever it attaches to, it can be really hard for both of you guys to move on. So you can be someone who puts a spell on somebody, like this somebody can literally be hung up on you forever, or vice versa, like you can be hung up on this person for a long time. And Scorpio is also known for like that revenge, you know. If you betray these people in any way, like they will pretty much hate you and be very unapologetic. So again, as I said before, with this whole thing about transformation, this is the energy of how we influence others, how we influence other people. So you really have a really big influence, and you can transform somebody's life completely. But this can go good, this could go bad, this could be positive, or this could be negative. And it really just depends on the level of awareness that you have. Scorpio also teaches you a lot about passion, and just going after the things that you're passionate about. And you teach them how to be less intense, because you're definitely more calm. You're about living the good life, being more, you know, smelling the roses. So you can really help Scorpio to smell the roses and not be so intense and just so like everything has to be like a tornado in a cup, you know. Okay, so now let's move on to the 10th house, and this is my favorite house. So your 10th house is in Aquarius, and the 10th house is all about our career, our public image, our reputation, really what we're here for. So having Aquarius in the 10th house means that you will reach your full potential in your career, where you're not going with the status quo, when you're not doing what society is doing, because Aquarius is about uniqueness. It is about going against what the freak everyone else is doing and going through your own path. When you're going after something that is not the norm, or that is kind of like unconventional. The more that you try to be like everyone else, the more that you will fail and the more miserable you'll be. So the main trait about Aquarius is that Aquarius is ahead of its time. So you're very aware of what's to come. Like you're very aware of what's going to happen before it actually happens. And although this seems really great, and this is like a very amazing talent that you have, it's also like very lonely, because not a lot of people are on the same wavelength as you. So you kind of feel like out of touch a lot around people around you. So if you're in your career, you're definitely someone who's different, someone who's who's very unique figure, being known for someone like who thinks outside of the box, like kind of like that crazy scientist that nobody believes until like you're curing the whole world, like, you know. So yeah, being known, so you're definitely someone who could be known for someone who's just original, someone who has like original ideas, original intellect. Some career fields that can appeal to you is something having to do with understanding human nature, something having to do with helping society in some way, because Aquarius is definitely a humanitarian sign. It's the water barrier, so it brings water to other people. And even like scientific careers, things that kind of advance society. Aquarius is also about social networking, so working with other people or other groups will bring you more success than just being by yourself. Networking is definitely a big theme for you. Using social media is going to be really beneficial for you. So you could definitely be like some social media influencer, have a social media based business, something in regards of social media, like you can really have a big following on social media. Friendships is also something that Aquarius rules. So having friends in the same career path is really common for you. Like you can meet your best friends in your career. So if you're in the beauty industry, you'll have a bunch of friends in the beauty industry. If you're in the medical field, you'll meet a bunch of friends in the medical field. So yeah, like I really don't think that you do well with narrow-minded people around you. Like if you have a boss that's very oppressive, then you just much rather be like not with them. You much rather do your own thing. So the thing about the 10th house is that it doesn't come easy. It's not something that's just gonna fall into your lap. This is the house that we have to constantly work in this area. So for you, you're so used to getting recognition and attention at home, or at least wanting recognition. So you might not really be getting the same approval and attention in your workspace. And so for the most part, like a lot of people are gonna think that you're weird or you're odd, and like you could be really misunderstood in your career, because again, you're ahead of your time. Nobody is there yet. We're still here. Like, you know, if you're here, we're over here. And being underrated in your career is also really common for Taurus risings, Aquarius 10th house, because again, a lot of people don't really understand what you're doing until it's done, and then people are like, oh my god, look what they did. The thing here is that you really have to stick with whatever you're doing. So I always think about this when I think about Aquarius. I think about before we had knowledge of in microscopes, we didn't have any knowledge of bacteria. We didn't know bacteria existed. So a lot of people didn't understand that we were getting sick because we had bacteria in our hands. You know, doctors were operating without even washing their hands, and there was a scientist who was telling everyone, like, look, there's little I think they're called animalias or animalias, I don't know, like the little whatever's in our hands, like the little bacteria in our hands, and nobody believed him. But either way, he still stuck with it. He still went with it. He still had to go and do the things he had to do, even though nobody was giving him that attention and nobody was giving him that approval. And really not caring what other people think and doing it anyway will really propel you to the top, because at the end of the day, you're meant to be someone who's an innovator, someone who brings society forward. So yeah, guys, really use social media. Now that we're in the time of social media, use social media as something that could propel whatever career you want to be in. And yeah, something involving humanity, especially now with all this environmental stuff happening, you guys could definitely be, this could definitely appeal to you, helping society and helping the environment in some way. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like this video if you like the video. Make sure you comment down below if you have any questions, and subscribe for more videos. I love you guys. Bye!